Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us today to learn more about our Master of Public Administration through the Carsey School. Today, you are going to learn all about the program and hear from Dr. Arcand, the program director, and hopefully get all of your questions answered. This is our agenda for the day, so we are going to do introductions, and again, just get an overview of the program, talk about what sets this program apart from perhaps maybe other schools you might be interested in pursuing. We will also share information about what the layout of your curriculum might look like, talk about potential careers. We do have an amazing guest speaker here with us today to share more about their experience in the program. I will take over towards the end of this session to talk about the university, why UNH, again, what sets us apart from other institutions. We will cover tuition and financial aid, as well as how to apply to the program. And we are going to leave time at the end for questions and answers as well. So just to sort of share who's in the room today. So we have the amazing pleasure of having Dr. Arcand here today, the program director of the Master of Public Administration. We are also joined by Robin, the College Academic Affairs Coordinator of the Carsey School. My name is Cheyenne Acevedo. I am the Assistant Director of Student Success with UNH Online. I have the amazing pleasure of working with Heather Holland, who is our Associate Director, and I work hand in hand with Callie Iarardi and Daniel Beatty, our Student Success Coaches. So depending on when you may have inquired about a program here with UNH Online, you may have already had a conversation with us, whether that was through email, over the phone, or maybe through a Zoom chat as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it off to Dr. Arcand.
Thank you so much. Well, I am looking forward to talking a little bit about the program generally and some specifics of the different tracks that students can choose when they enroll in the program and some potential careers that students in our program have landed in, some career options. And then I'll be talking with Matt, a current student, about his experience in the program. So just to talk a little bit generally about the program before digging into some details, the focus of this program is on preparing people who are interested or currently working in public service or nonprofit management. And what's great about our program is that the courses are really geared towards the application of skills and knowledge. So it's not just a theory-based program. Many of our courses kind of focus on developing skills that students can use right from the get-go. So you take a course in grant writing, and by the end of the semester, you've written a realistic grant application or perhaps a real application that you could submit to a funder. You take a course in statistics and you learn how to use Microsoft Excel to start crunching numbers on your computer at work. So there's this real focus on applied skills and knowledge that you can take with you and begin, hit the ground running in terms of being able to use these things. So I'll move into a little more detail on the next slide. Yeah, so I guess there's kind of 4 pieces of this slide that I'll talk about. And the first one is the fact that there are 2 different options for degrees under the MPA umbrella. So our traditional MPA program is a 36 credit program. So that means that it involves taking 12 courses. And our traditional program is for students who are either coming directly from undergrad or who don't have experience in supervisory or managerial roles. So that's a great option for, again, students coming right from undergrad or students who have been working for a while, but not at the level of management. We also have an executive MPA option. This is a 30 credit program that involves taking 10 courses. And this is for people who have 5 or more years of relevant experience. So supervisory roles, managerial roles, supervising people or processes. When you apply to the executive MPA, we look at your prior experience and just kind of are looking for that 5 or more years in that managerial or supervisory role. The program can be completed as quickly as in 12 to 16 months. And when I get to the next slide, I'll give you some examples of what that could look like. But I'll also say that you can complete the program more slowly if that works for your schedule. So our programs are built for people who are, working professionals, people who want to be able to complete the coursework on top of a full-time job or a part-time job. So there are options for getting through the program in 12 months up through, taking a couple of years if that's going to work better for your schedule and for your work commitments. Thinking about the way in which you structure the program once you enter the program as a student, we have created 2 tracks that students can choose from to kind of structure their experience in the program. And this is new this fall. So students who are starting this fall are going to select from one of 2 tracks. And I'll talk a little bit about both of those. So first is the management and leadership track. And this is kind of consistent with wanting to be able to take a lot of different courses and gaining those different skills. So there's more opportunity for elective courses within this track to gain experiences in things like nonprofit management, human resources management, leadership development, public finance and budgeting. So more opportunity for electives, but also when it comes to thinking about finishing off the program, there is a requirement for the capstone process where students are asked to first take a course in program evaluation, which will give you the skills to understand how to design evaluations of your organization's specific initiatives. So how do we know that this program is having the intended effect? How do we know that there's a need for this program? So that's kind of setting the stage for you to then take a capstone course where you're going to be applying all of the skills that you've learned throughout your program to a real world problem in public administration, and approaching that as you'll be undertaking a project where you're writing a paper and trying to think about how you would use the skills that you've learned to address a public problem or issue. That's different from our program planning and development track. That track involves a 4-course series that counts as your capstone experience. But the program planning and development track is for students who want to use those 4 courses. And again, those courses are one after the other to engage in a real applied project within their community. So in thinking about if you're working in local government and you want to design a community survey and you want to gather data and analyze the results and learn from a survey about how the community feels about, economic development or whatever the topic is, there's this opportunity to have a guided, mentored experience with doing this project. Maybe you're interested, just as one more example, you're interested in bringing together nonprofits and government in your community to develop an initiative to create walkable neighborhoods. And this is something you want to kind of develop some networks around and make some plans around, and working with local government and nonprofits. This would be a space where you could explore that arc of kind of building a design for a project, undertaking the project, and then kind of evaluating what happened. So 2 separate options. And again, the management and leadership is more geared towards having that opportunity to take lots of different courses and build lots of different skills. You can still take lots of courses in the program planning and development course, but there is this focused opportunity to go through this arc of developing an applied project in your community as part of that. So thinking about which track to pursue is something that you can talk about with your academic advisor and kind of choose the best fit for your goals. And then before I move on to the next slide, I just want to mention that our programs, our MPA and executive MPA, are completely online and asynchronous. So you have the opportunity and the flexibility to complete the coursework on your own schedule. With that being said, our instructors often will give you opportunities for optional opportunities to connect and to have conversations with your classmates. And just as one example of this, I teach a course in grant writing, and I bring in guest speakers who are funders, local funders from different types of organizations that make grants. And so these funders visit with the class in a synchronous format, and students can either join live or they can watch a recording of the guest speakers at a later time. If they join live, they can bring questions for the guest speakers. And if they want to just watch the video after, they can send me their questions and I'll ask their questions. So either way, there's opportunities to interact either by watching the video or by coming and being in a live session. So on the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about kind of the way in which your degree plan could unfold. So this is a slide that contains a lot of great information, and we could certainly share this with you in, if you would like, we can kind of share this slide with you or the slideshow so that you can look at this in some more detail. But just to give you a broad overview, you'll see that you can complete the program in as little as 12 months if you're in the executive MPA program and you take 2 courses per e-term. So the way the program works is we use these 8-week e-terms. So over the course of a traditional academic semester, like the fall semester, there are 2 e-terms, 8-week e-terms in each semester. So you can take a couple of courses per e-term, or you could take a couple of courses per semester and 1 in each e-term. And so this slide just gives you a feel for how these e-terms are laid out. There are 5 e-terms over the course of an academic year. And we offer our core courses at the same time every year. So if you start in the fall, you'd want to take our core foundations and theories course, and then build from that, add on courses from there. 2 of our other core courses, organizations and management and intro to statistics, are offered in the spring. So you can always kind of rely on when those core courses are going to be offered. And then we build in advanced core courses, and certainly you can pick from your capstone related courses, which are also offered at the same time every year. So you'll be able to work with an academic advisor to make a specific plan. Again, this is just an example, but you can think about what would work best for your schedule and when you want to take those core courses, which we recommend taking earlier in the program, and then plug in our advanced core courses and layer on your capstone track courses. So on the next slide, I'll talk a little bit more about what our academic calendar looks like. So for this slide, we have the different terms laid out here, and you'll notice that between each of our e-terms, we have a 1-week break. So our first e-term goes late August through mid-October. Then there's a break, and our second e-term goes late October through mid-December. There's a 1-month break between e-term 2 and e-term 3, and e-term 3 is January through March, e-term 4 is March through May, and e-term 5 is May through July. So there's opportunities to take courses within the MPA program and the courses that I showed you on the last slide. But one thing I just want to mention too is that we have 2 other Carsey School of Public Policy master's degree programs that are completely online, and you're welcome to take electives in those programs as well. And those programs follow the same e-term schedules. So we have a master's in community development and a master's in global conflict and human security. So to fill in some of those elective courses, if you have interests that are outside of our traditional MPA model, you can look there for other online courses, and you're welcome to look at the full catalog of University of New Hampshire courses to fill in your electives, again, beyond just the Carsey School of Public Policy. So there are options in thinking about your interests that complement your public administration focus and looking around outside of the Carsey School for those elective courses. So moving on to potential careers, what's really neat about this program is that we get people from mid-career working professionals who are currently working in, town government and state government and across the nonprofit sector and kind of want to move up to the next level. We also get people who are much earlier in their careers, and they want to build those skills that will allow them to progress in their careers. And some students straight out of undergrad who are, again, looking to build their skills and before digging into work in the public and nonprofit sectors. So we have a lot of students who are in town and city management, economic development, recreation management, law enforcement, government administration, and all levels of state and local government, human resources professionals, public affairs and media affairs coordinators. And then in the nonprofit sector, we have nonprofit executive directors, administrative directors, development directors. So there's a great opportunity to learn from your classmates in these classes, because we have people who are coming in from all of these different sectors. And you'll also have your opportunity to develop skills that are really specific to nonprofit leadership or public sector leadership. So there's a great opportunity to kind of grow those skills. So I guess I'll move on to kind of talking about experiences in the program with Matt Harris, who is a current student in the program. And just Matt, to give you a little bit of introduction before I start asking you questions. So again, Matt's a current student who works at UNH in the machine shop and also teaches courses at UNH. And you can tell us a little bit about that. But yeah, Matt, do you want to kind of build on your introduction a little bit and tell us a bit about kind of what you do in your current position?
Yeah. So actually, there's been slight change in my position. Things kind of moved quickly. I am still working part-time at UNH, but right now I'm currently an associate professor at Manchester Community College. I just started that a few weeks ago. I teach in the advanced manufacturing program. And so I'm a machinist by trade. I've been a machinist since I was 15, so I've been doing it quite a while. And at UNH, as well as here, I teach machine shop, computer-aided design, engineering drawing, so making blueprints, stuff like that, and also robotics. So it's a lot of fun. I love doing it. And, one of the biggest things I'm trying to do is, in my career anyway, is to try to encourage more people to enter technical education beyond just what we think of as STEM. I want to widen that lens a little bit. And we got to break down some of these barriers, between there's a lot of silos, in the nonprofit world that I'm trying to be a facilitator to sort of smooth some of those transitions, hopefully, in my, whatever limited way I can, right? So.
Yeah. Well, I guess what drew you to the MPA?
So I started looking for a grad school. The default choice was sort of a master's of education, which is great. And that still does interest me, but I kind of stumbled upon the MPA and I didn't really know where I was going to end up in higher ed. I knew I wanted to live around the education space. I'm very passionate about education, but I just had no idea what specific role I was going to end up in. And, I thought, oh, maybe, I'll start a nonprofit myself or work for a nonprofit, whatever. So I said, all right, I'll give this a go. And right away, I really enjoyed it. Right off the bat, I knew it was definitely a good fit for me. And I just find that, again, it all depends on what everyone wants to do, right? But I think the beauty of an MPA, especially the Carsey School program, is that it doesn't close any doors for you, right? For instance, if you went and you wanted to get a master's in electrical engineering, that's wonderful. That's fine. Do that. But, that's not really going to help you if you want to be an accountant, right? Whereas the MPA is so broad and intentionally broad that it just strengthens. It's like Dr. Arcand said, it's definitely more about skills based than it is about, you do learn nuts and bolts skills. Like, for instance, I took Dr. Arcand's grant writing class, and that's very much like a toolbox class, right? But a lot of the stuff are these like broad concepts in leadership and the ability to analyze and evaluate and collaborate and stuff like that will just serve you well anywhere you land in the nonprofit world, in my opinion.
Yeah, thanks. So thinking about courses you've taken, what's been most valuable to you and kind of what skills or methods that you've learned?
So first of all, to go back to the grant writing class, that was very, very valuable. Beyond that, I think taking foundations first, I took foundations and theories first. That was my first grad course. I'm glad I took that first because that is kind of a course that you hit the ground running. A lot of reading, and it's a lot of dense reading, like a lot of stuff, from 1890 and this old political theory. It's really interesting, but you gotta knuckle down on it, right? So I think that really got me ready for grad school. And then one of the best classes I've taken so far is nonprofit management with Dr. Christine Robinson. What's great about that class is she talks about all the theoretical stuff and it's very rigorous, a lot of reading, just like all the other classes. But what's great about how she teaches it is she'll be like, all right, but actually when you're in the room with a donor, you know what I mean? Like, right. She applied because she has so much experience in that space. So it's nice to be able to actually get, especially at the grad, like it's one thing when you're dealing with college freshmen, but with grads, everyone's an adult. Everyone is, a lot of people are working professionals. They want the real scoop. You know what I mean? They don't want you to just like read a textbook to them type of thing. So, which again, no one in the Carsey School does. It's really nice to be able to apply these, they leverage the professionals' experience, you know what I mean, onto your education.
Yeah. And actually that's, Yeah, that's a great point. We intentionally bring in practitioners who are doing the work in the nonprofit sector and doing the work in government to teach our courses, because they're able to, get the academic background, and also how do you use this when you're working in the real world.
Yeah.
Great. Well, so how do you see yourself moving forward? You're going to be finishing up the program pretty soon. What's next for you?
We'll see. I have been kicking around my doctorate in education. We'll see how it goes. It's funny. We're working on an initiative here at Manchester Community College where we're trying to, I can't say too much about it, but we're trying to establish better relationships, smoother transitions between various institutions, and we're trying to collaborate, right? So we're trying to stop looking at the community college system as 7 competitors, and we're trying to, at least in the manufacturing space, we're trying to get it to a posture where people view it as 7 collaborators. And I have found that the way that people, a lot of the skills I learned in my MPA, especially like a thing that we talk about over and over and over, is stakeholders, right? In the private sector, if your company's making money, people will disagree on strategy and all this other stuff, right? But if the profits are coming in, people get on board pretty quick, right? As long as the checks keep cashing and everyone's making money, people will get on board, right? In the nonprofit sector, you're always dealing with competing interests constantly. Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad thing, right? Like people are just coming at it from different angles. But I have definitely found, trying to see things through the lens of various stakeholders, and how do we, you can't please everybody, but obviously you want to do the right thing, right? And, that's just like a really important recurring theme that comes up in all my classes I've taken, because you're constantly juggling various interests in the nonprofit world.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to hear how things are going and about kind of your future plans. I guess just to open it up, I know the next slide I think is questions. Any questions for Matt?
I'm seeing a couple of questions come in. One question for you, Matt, is how are you managing a busy work and personal life with earning your MPA degree?
So the biggest thing is you have to stay on top of it, and if you chip away at it, you'll be fine. But you just cannot let it snowball, because it's tough, especially in the 8-week format. The 8-week format moves quick. You definitely have to be a self-starter. There's no doubt about that. No one is going to babysit you. No one's going to, don't get me wrong, your professors are concerned. They're going to check in and, but it's grad school, right? Like you got to do the work. And, but like I said, if you make a schedule, you stay on top, you chip away, then you'll be just fine.
Great. Thank you. And there's a follow-up question about how many hours per week do you dedicate to your MPA coursework?
So everyone's different. I would say probably do about a couple hours a day. I'm a morning person, so I get up, check my email, and then I immediately just jump into my readings. And I try to do that an hour, 2 hours if I can.
I'm sure. One last question that came in is, how do you find the experience of online learning?
So in the Carsey school, I love it. I am a big believer in, and maybe it's just because of my mechanical background, but I'm a very big believer in finding the right solution for the right scenario, right? One of my biggest frustrations with higher ed is the idea that everything has to be the same. I just don't accept that, especially in the 21st century. So that, the point I'm getting to is, I think for the Carsey school, the 8-week format and the online format, I think is perfect. I think it lends itself well to it. Also, too, I have to say, I've got really high quality classmates. I mean, you get some really interesting perspectives, people that are really digging into the material, they're relating it to their current jobs, stuff like that. So it's a lot more stimulating. Like I said, I think, would I want to do a physics class in an 8-week online format? Probably not for me, right? But for this format, I really do think it's perfect. I think it's well done. It was a good idea and it was executed well. So I like it. Again, not for everyone. You do have to be a self-starter, right? You gotta, like I just said, you gotta stay on top of stuff. But if you can do that, it's nice to have that flexibility. It's nice to be able to squeeze in, say, hey, I'm gonna rip through 30 pages of my reading out on my lunch break or whatever, right? It's nice to have a little bit of flexibility.
Great. Thank you so much, Matt. That's all the questions I see for you right now.
Great. And I actually, unfortunately, I do have to run. I have to head to a faculty meeting, but thanks again for inviting me. I really appreciate it. And, last thing, if anyone's thinking about the Carsey School, if you want to be in the nonprofit sector, if public service is for you, it's not for everyone, and that's okay. But if it is for you, we need more. We need more people in public service, and we need more leaders and people that are willing to take charge, and really have a vision and have a passion for it. So please come and see us at the Carsey School. But I have to bow out. Thank you so much again.
Thanks, Matt. Have a good day. All right. So I am just going to jump in with sort of that overarching information about UNH. There is a lot to be proud about with our university and our program specifically. So just for starters, we are the public flagship institution of the state of New Hampshire. So we're really leading the charge in terms of research. So we are an R1 research institution. If you're not familiar with what that means, we are really conducting research at the highest level, not only in what we can imagine is like a traditional lab setting, but also in the comfort of your own space. So that looks like research being conducted at your kitchen table, on your couch. And that's really a testament to our amazing online students in collaboration with the wonderful faculty that we have here at UNH. Another thing that we're really proud of is we are able to maintain really small class sizes. So that really allows students to really maximize collaboration amongst their peers, but then also collaboration amongst their faculty as well. So faculty are really wanting to get to know who you are on a more personal level, and the fact that we are able to maintain those smaller class sizes allows us to have that space for our students. Our faculty do hold traditional like office hours. So if you are a little bit further away, of course, that can be accessible via Zoom in a more virtual space. But if you are a New Hampshire resident and more local, you can certainly take advantage of meeting folks in person as well. Of course, faculty are experts in their field, so they are practitioners that are actively practicing in their field, and they are also leaders as well. So you're really learning from the best of the best. And then we do foster a learning community with an emphasis on theory and practice. And then as a UNH student, we really pride ourselves on how we support you while you are really from the inquiry stage. So, if you haven't already really engaged with us, or if you haven't applied just yet, we are in full support of you from the moment that you express interest in a program all the way through graduation. Once you are admitted into the program, you are assigned an academic advisor. So they're really there to help with all things academic. So thinking about maybe you have potential transfer credits, or maybe you just need an academic advising appointment to lay out what your plan of study will look like. Those are really your go-to folks. Being on the student success team with UNH Online, myself, Callie, and Danielle, we are your go-to people when it comes to anything that you really want to learn. So if you have questions about, let's say, financial aid, or maybe you have questions about where to turn to for other supports and you're not really sure where to start, we are a wonderful starting point. And if we can't answer your question or get to the answer at the bottom, we will make sure to connect you with the appropriate folks. So we're really here to help you navigate all the systems here at UNH. And we're always happy to check in with you throughout your time in the program as well. As part of your tuition and fees, you are able to get IT services if for whatever reason you're needing help with, let's say, Canvas, or getting your laptop set up, your email, even from the beginning. Sometimes folks struggle to get those things started. IT services is really a service that you can access 24/7. So they are happy to take phone calls, email. They have a whole host of information online as well. They're wonderful. I use IT services probably I would say 2 to 3 times a month, just with random questions, and they're a great bunch, and they're not what you would really consider your traditional IT people. They're super friendly, and again, just always happy to help and jump on a Zoom call if need be. You are also able to take advantage of library resources. And again, if you're a local student and you would like to have a more traditional study space, you're more than welcome to plop down and really like have a day of studying or doing homework in our beautiful Diamond Library. We do have a bunch of other smaller libraries on campus as well. And then that's true for the Manchester campus too. But if you are a little bit further away and need to access library resources, you can do so online as well. And you can connect with the librarian virtually as well. We do have our Center for Academic Enrichment. So if you feel like maybe you're needing some more help with, let's say, reading and writing, and maybe getting a second pair of eyes on a paper that you might be doing for a particular class, or maybe you need someone to sort of review a discussion post and you're feeling a little bit rusty off the bat, those folks are there to help you along the way as well. And then lastly, we do have career and professional success. You might hear them more commonly termed as CAPS. We love our acronyms here at UNH, but CAPS are really the go-to people for all things career related. So whether that be a larger event that you might be attending, whether it's virtual or in person, they're also happy to meet with folks one-on-one as well to conduct meetings that are really around maybe mock interviews, resume review. I know that I personally went to them about a year and a half ago to build a LinkedIn, just because I was so behind the ball with creating a LinkedIn. So they're really friendly, really great people, and again, always happy to help. And I'm happy to share that that's really sort of the attitude from all resources here at UNH. This is the breakdown of the cost here at UNH for the MPA program. So if you are an in-state resident, the cost is $785 per credit. And then the out-of-state cost is $865 per credit. There are some additional technology fees, and those fees are really charged based on the amount of credits that you may be taking. So as Dr. Arcand said earlier, it really depends on how you choose to take your classes. You can take anywhere from one class per term to two classes. Sometimes we find that students are really loading up on classes and taking at least 4 per semester. So that would be 2 classes per term. But again, this could look different for you. So that's why we just kind of share out the exact cost per credit. If you are interested in trying to understand how much you would have to come up with based on the amount of credits that you plan on taking, we're happy to direct you to student accounts. That's really the folks that would be able to help with questions around billing. And then we are also happy to connect you with financial aid. It is important to know that grad students are still eligible to be considered for federal financial aid through FAFSA. So if that's something that you are interested to see if you qualify for, we encourage all students to apply for FAFSA. And then something to not overlook is if you are working full-time, part-time, or if you have benefits through your current employer, we encourage folks to really have conversations with their human resources to see what those benefits might look like for you. This is just an overview of the application requirements. So the application can be done online through the grad school. And, if you have any questions about how to access that, please contact us at UNH Online. We'll be sharing our contact information at the end. There is an application fee that we can talk about in a little bit. Pretty standard. We do require 3 letters of recommendations. We ask that those be professional recommendations from folks that can speak on you from either an academic standpoint or from a professional work standpoint. We do ask that you send any and all college transcripts of institutions that you may have attended and completed a degree program, or any transcripts of institutions that you may have completed classes in. You are able to send unofficial transcripts at the time of admission. Upon admission into a program, the graduate school will require official transcripts. So official transcripts are just transcripts that are coming directly from the registrar's office of the school you may have attended. where an unofficial transcript is you being able to access it through the portal of that institution and then sending us a PDF. So again, a decision can be made based on unofficial transcripts, but it doesn't hurt to start the official transcript request, just because it does take some time. We do have a personal statement as part of the required pieces of your application. And then we are also asking for a current professional resume as well. Standardized test scores are not required. The TOEFL or an English proficiency test to be submitted. And again, I know that we're throwing a lot of information at you, and if at any point you need to talk to someone about the application pieces, if you're unsure of whether you have it all or whether you've submitted, no matter what point you are in this process, please always know that you are able to share any and all questions that you might have with us. And we are currently accepting applications for our spring 2024 semester. And that deadline is December 15th. Even though the deadline is December 15th, we encourage folks to submit their application before that if you feel ready, and if hopefully after this information session, you feel a lot more informed and hopefully excited about submitting your application. But again, you have until December 15th. So if you need a little bit more time to gather information, do your personal statement, inform those recommenders of you wanting to have them share wonderful things on your behalf, please take your time in this process. We want to make sure that you feel confident about your application. And this is our contact information. So on the top, you'll see our email and our phone number. I know for folks, life is busy, so feel free to send us an email at unh.online@unh.edu. We'll be sure to get back to you, usually within the same day, if not within 24 hours. And again, any and all questions go. But if you feel more comfortable, maybe just jumping on the phone and having a quick phone conversation, we're happy to answer questions that way as well. I also invite you to contact Robin or Anne if you have any real specific questions about the program. But UNH Online can really be a great starting point for a lot of folks. So I'll leave this here just for a couple more seconds. So if you want to take a picture of it, take a screenshot, whatever you need to do. This is also on our website as well.